Hello, my friends. 7 years ago, we were discussing and praying with the board of Youth Christ Romania if we should buy Puerto Ilo or not. You know the story. 3 months after, we decided to buy it, and it was a huge step of faith for us. For me, it was time to look encouragement from the Bible. Go on my knees, pray, and ask God to encourage me in a way or another. One of the characters that God used to encourage me was Moses. And there are different stories that God uses, but the first one, I will say this, is when Moses was in the desert. And God is calling Moses to go in Egypt. And Moses is scared. They have this argument with God. And God said, Moses, take this stick and throw it in the floor. Moses does it, and there is this big snake coming out of the stick. My first conclusion, or my first encouragement, is that many times, actually all the time, the first experience with God is always in the secret. Always when nobody is watching you. It's one thing to have faith with the microphone on the video, on the newsletter. It's another one to have faith, just you and God, when nobody is looking at you. And this is where we found our first strength. It was our first relationship with God. And we saw so many times God provided even if we didn't tell anybody. And with this faith that God was providing, we decided as a group to say, we're going to do this. Then we decided to buy the place, but then we had to pay the first 100,000 euros. And then I felt like Moses when he went the first time to Pharaoh. I was scared. I don't know how was Moses. I was so scared. I didn't know. I had to pay this money at this certain time, and I was so stressed. But then I look at the faith, the stick that God gave me, and we went, and the first step was done. And Moses go to the Pharaoh, and then there is the first plague of Egypt. And I was so thankful, but it was not over. Then there is a second one, then third one. So we paid 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. And then I was exhausted. I said, God, I'm exhausted. And so I opened my Bible, and then the text that God gave me was this text when Moses is in the mountain and the army is fighting. And so Moses has to stay there, and he has to stay until there is the victory. It's too heavy for Moses, so Moses asked people to ask him on the right, on the left. And so I thank God for the people who came alongside me during this time. People who decided to help me fundraise, people who decided to pray with me every week until we finished to pay the center. And I realized also in this text, Moses has to sit down on a rock. And God had to told me also during this time that I cannot fight for the other ones if I don't also have a place to sit and be encouraged to persevere. Then we paid 400,000, 500, 600, 700,000, 800, 900,000. And I thought, oh, we are almost there, almost the end of this story. And now the text that God is speaking to me through is this text when Moses is taking the people of Israel out of Egypt. And then they are almost there, but the Pharaoh thinks, I'm going to send my army again. I'm going to kill these people. So you see Moses, and in one side you see the army of Egypt, and the other side you see the sea. And I don't know what thought Moses, but Moses had faith that somehow God would do something. And Moses prayed to God, raises the stick, and you know the story. The sea opened in two. And we're in this place where two things happened to us this last year. First, the fire security department came to us and asked us to change the fire security in Puerto Ilo. So it's again a lot of money we have to raise to change this. But also the managers of Puerto Ilo decided to go. And we tried to hire new people and we couldn't find anybody. And we have these two struggles, these two challenges we have to face. And we're not sure at this time when we do the video, I'm not sure how we're going to handle this. But what I know is that God has been always there. God was always with us, a way or another. And so we're raising our faith and we're praying until we see the sea open in two. So thanks to stay with us, thanks to pray for us. We will keep you updated about how things are moving and how God will help us once again in these challenges. May God bless you.